So I wanted to show you a portfolio from one of the lead character artists at Naughty Dog. And I watched a lot of interviews with Frank, and one of the things I find interesting is that when you look at his characters, what makes them so appealing is they're more humanistic, right? And a lot of times we spend I want to say a quarter of almost every single class I teach, we talk about, well, how do you get a job as a character artist in the industry? And for me, it's a different path because I started off as an asset modeler and then environments, and then during lunch I was doing characters, and they noticed that my stuff was getting better, and they gave me a shot to work on one of the Ghost Recon games. And so um, that's how I got my way in. And so for a lot of other people, I think if you're trying to get in fresh out of college or even as an intern or entry level position, it's a good idea to not just have like these beautiful heroic characters, which obviously if you look at Frank's work, he's got like some phenomenal, some beautiful generic character studies, right, of like a muscular character. But he also has these really great human, right? Like this is um, Anderson Silva, like, a modern UFC artist. But if you look at his work, it's like really impressive that he's able to capture the likeness of somebody who's not which I see in a lot of portfolios, white superhero, Superman-esque character. And so it's good to understand how, like, the skull varies a little bit depending on ethnicity, skin type, color. There's a lot of different factors that are there, and trying to capture that, right? And it doesn't have to be perfect. Like, don't beat yourself up if you try to make an Anderson Silva model and it ends up looking nothing like him. Um, this is probably his 100th model before he got there, or 20th model. I'm not trying to insult him. But even these pieces, right? Like he's got older characters, he's got younger characters, right? He's got, beautiful skin discoloration, things like that. So it's just trying to capture, a variety of different people. I mean, even this piece here, um, it's a very, very good likeness, but it's actually got its own issues, right? Structurally. So when you look at it, you're like, it looks like him, it looks just like him, but there's something there that's missing, right? Opposed to his Anderson Silva one, which is like, like in my opinion, almost perfect, right? So let's jump into the tutorial now. All right, so what I'm going to do is, I think I'm going to focus on the clavs and the neck in this video, and then from there we'll at least have the points on the body, for example, like where the clavs are, where we can start to build off the back of the neck and then down the back going this way. So I guess we're just going to focus, and a lot of artists do this because it's where we spend most of our time looking at characters is in the front. So we'll spend a lot of time modeling all this cool surface detail and forget about the back. And so we will spend a little bit of time on that too. So let's go ahead and give ourselves just a little bit of a different color, maybe a pink here. And then what we're doing is with the clavicle is from the front view, we have our two major points here. These high points in the front, these two balls. And then what we're doing is the clav swoops in, right? Kind of like this, like a handlebar up. And then it touches just the top of the shoulder here. And we're going to move these elements around. And between our chest and here, there's no muscle. There's no real muscle here. So I'm just going to hold Alt and just kind of, let's actually, I'm going to switch this and go to white. There we go. Let's switch it again. And so there's a divot here in the corner. So something like this. And we can kind of start to suggest in the shoulder, just that frontal tear duct here, just so we can see that a little bit better and see how that starts to form that divot. Maybe I should go with a little bit different of a color for the shoulder so you can see that. So we start to get that teardrop in the shoulder there. We have that divot here, right? That wraps underneath. So let's grab those colors and start to push those underneath like that a little bit better. Make sure these wrap. And again, I always have to kind of use my move tool to push that back because this is way too pronounced. So you know what I might do is just kind of, let's switch this. I'm just hitting V to switch color. Let's kind of just push that back. That way we don't have to just keep switching to our move tool. And then just kind of add like this. There we go. So something like that, just to refine our chest. Now for the neck, um, what we're going to do is I'm going to go ahead and connect these two major muscles that run down from the clav all the way to the back of the head. So let's switch the color there. Well, we'll leave it as a white just so you can kind of, you'll see it pronounced. And then we'll use our move tool to shape that. So something like this. And then at the base of the neck, we'll create our divot. Actually, let me switch my color. There we go. Let's add the Adam's apple in. Something like this. And then I'm just going to use my move tool to push that in. And there's a natural S curve to where the front of our neck is coming down this way. So that S comes around like this, right? And then the front, it actually slopes in. And then to add in those traps, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to add a mound of clay leading up and connecting to those muscles that wraps to the back of the head. So something like this. And then I'll use my move tool to shape it. So you can see here now we have that natural S curve more pronounced. Something like this. I'm going to hold shift, smooth that out a little bit. And let's carve that out. And then I'm just going to smooth it. Something like that. Alright, and then we have that handlebar shape of the clavicle. Comes down like this. Just going to push that, give myself a little more shoulder here to work from. Something like this. And then you always want to check your angles, right? Like off on this side, are we getting that? There's always a natural push and pull to the body, right? So for example, in the slope of the lower back, the tummy is at the furthest forward. When the back comes out this way, the chest is actually sinking in. So you're getting more of a rounded barrel shape like this. So I think we're hitting the 6 minute, 7 minute mark. So I'm going to end this one here, and then what we'll do is we'll knock out. We'll probably work on the sternum in the next one.